Today's video is going to follow on from yesterday's video. So yesterday's video was all about anxiety and the difficult emotions that we might be carrying inside due to current world situations, to the things that are going on in our lives at this moment, at this point in time specifically. So, how you are feeling as a result of living through the pandemic, as a result of, just being alive and living in 2020 and dealing with everything that it has thrown at us and all of the change that has happened. Because, 2020 was supposed to be the year when everything got better. It was supposed to be the year when all of our lives changed. And a lot of people that I have worked with and spoken to, both clients and friends alike, the general consensus was that 2018 was like a tricky year, 2019 was like a really bad year, and 2020 was meant to be the year when it all kind of like just, all of that melted away and life got better and things got easier and blocks disintegrated, so that the things that were stuck in our lives, blocking us from moving forwards, were no longer there, and then everything started to happen, and all of the things that we're trying to manifest came in easily. And then March happens, quarantine happens, pandemic happens, and it hasn't really been like that for most people. For most people, it's been the complete opposite. It's been a, things that they were trying to manifest and build have completely stopped and shut down, and some things have been lost forever. People have had to kind of like switch focus and find something else to invest their time and energy in, and try and build something new, something different. The amount of people that have like lost their jobs, and people who will never be able to get that job back again, or never be able to even work in that industry again because of the situation in that industry and how that has forever changed, or because of the fact that they are of a certain age, and so that there is no entry back into that world once that job that they had has gone, because they are considered too old now. And so it's been a bit of a difficult year, and I addressed that in terms of like anxiety and depression and overwhelm in the last video. And so I guess I wanted to kind of like carry on working through that issue and that problem in this video, just so that we can continue to heal this this wound and these blocks and these experiences in our lives, and feel better moving forwards. So just to do another video to lend an extra level of support, so that it's not just like a one-off. So the support that I wanted to find today, in the reading and in the cards, is how can I support myself more? How can I help myself more? So if you are like a tree, and if in this instance, so you're like a tree and you were planted a long time ago, and you've been growing for a long time, and you've been trying to like kind of heal your roots, and you've been trying to prune your branches, and you've been trying to work out how to produce healthy fruit in abundance on a regular basis every year. You've been trying to work out how to keep pests at bay, how to not house too many bird nests, how to maybe be okay with like squirrels and birds visiting from time to time, but you're not really wanting to house anything extra. You're wanting to have like a clean and empty tree with only healthy visitors who are there, like a little butterfly coming in to alight on a leaf, drinking some dew, and then departing again. And we've been doing that, and then 2020 happened, We all got put into quarantine, and it's kind of been a time when a lot of that tree has died, or if not died, it's been attacked or challenged, and we've kind of felt like a lot of our life has fallen away, like our shadow has risen up and a lot of our life has fallen away. So the things that we thought and we believed in before this all happened, a lot of that has fallen away, and we're left with this weird void. You know, when you take activity out of your life, when you take having to go into work out of your life, and going and spending time in shops and gyms and cafes and restaurants and hanging out with friends and stuff, when you take all of that out of the equation, there's this weird space. And this space, this expanse of time that we've never had before, this like silence and inactivity. Yeah, even outside there's been silence and stillness and quiet. When you take that away, and you have to then just sit in one space, yeah, and it's like, depending on how lucky you are, you either have a big or a small space. People have got different size spaces, but if you're like stuck in a small space, and some people have been stuck in really small spaces, then your thoughts come up at you. And a lot of the thoughts that have come up are thoughts from the past and things that we haven't necessarily dealt with. And now that our mind is not busy in the way that it was before, now that we can't distract ourselves in the same way that we could before, this stuff comes up to be dealt with and to be healed. And so for a lot of people, this whole like quarantine time, which depending on where you are in the world right now, you may or may not be in quarantine still. I kind of consider, because we're like moving in and out and all of this, you know, we're moving in and out all over the world at different times, yeah, but like people are now talking about, oh, we're going to go back in again. All of us are going to end up going back in again imminently at some point before winter, and so it's just a matter of when. But I consider it that all of us have been in quarantine to a greater or lesser degree since March. Yeah, so since March, wherever you are, the date will be slightly different, but since March, we've been living a different lifestyle, and we haven't been out as much, and there have been periods of times when we haven't been out at all. Sometimes we have to wear a mask, sometimes we don't. You know, we've moved through all of these phases, but it's been very, very different for that many months, and we haven't had much social contact, and we haven't been able to travel and all of these things. And some people have had more freedom than others. Some countries have had, you know, given more freedom than others. Different countries are dealing with this whole pandemic in different ways. Yeah, so depending on where you are, you will have a different experience of the pandemic and the situation. To me, some people's experience will be more extreme than others, depending on where you live in the world. But it feels like for everybody, it's been a big life shift. Yeah, it's been a time of breakthrough and crisis and rebirth, I feel. If you want to put a positive spin on it, I think for most people it has been a rebirth. It may have been a big rebirth or a small rebirth, but there has been a rebirthing experience of a trying to bring a new us out into the open, into the world, so that we can deal with everything that's going on, and so that we can survive and cope and flourish and thrive moving forwards. And so I see this rebirth as a planting a seed. So we're now planting a seed in order to grow a new tree, and then we become that new tree, and that new tree is so much stronger and more resilient and bountiful than the tree that we were before. And that new tree has healthy roots because we've done all the healing, and so that's where we are right now. So I want to do a reading on like how can I support myself right now, and how can I support this process so that it can be a little easier, because you know, this whole like gestation and growing and rebirthing is really tough, tiring work. It takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of thought, it takes a lot of focus, it takes a lot of will, it takes a lot of wishing and dreaming and trying. And so, you know, any support and any help we can get is always going to be a good thing. So that said, after that long ramble, I shall shuffle the cards and pull a card, and then we'll take it from there. So, shuffling the cards now. Okay. Okay, so we've got two cards that have come out. So the first card is the Hierophant. So we keep getting this card in my readings. This card has come up quite a few times now. And so that's kind of amusing. And every time there's a slightly different take on it, because every time it's within a slightly different context. So looking at this card now within the context of this reading and this question, like how can I better support myself? The card is calling upon us to be more like the Hierophant, which is like the High Priestess. So instead of getting lost in the foreground, like, yeah, it's like these people are in the congregation, they're in the crowd, yeah, so they're two of I don't know how many people back there, yeah, but these are the only two that we can see that have been included in the image. But let's just presume there are lots and lots of these people. Okay, so instead of being one of the lots and lots of people and we're lost in the crowd and we're squabbling about little things and we're worrying about little things and we're arguing about, you know, whether we should or shouldn't be wearing a mask, for example, and, you know, we're basically like, you know, deep into our kind of like moral high ground or whatever. So like if we believe in wearing masks, then we're preaching to people that don't believe in wearing them about masks, and we're really indignant, and, you know, we're going off on that journey. And if we don't believe in the masks, then we are disappointed in the people that are wearing them, and we're worried by them and confused by them, and we're going off on that journey. Instead of being one of those people who is basically getting distracted by everything that is going on, which is what one could argue they want to happen, so that while we're all arguing and bickering about the tiny little things like should I or shouldn't I wear a mask, which is like a tiny little point really, and I know it's really relevant right now to our lives, and I know that, like, depending on what decision you make, yeah, that could affect your life directly, and it could affect people you care about directly, and it could affect people that you don't even know indirectly as well, yeah, or even directly, arguably. So I know it's a big issue, but in the whole big picture of things and life and the meaning of life and why we're here and everything, the whole should I or shouldn't I wear a mask issue is quite small. It's like, should I or shouldn't I be a vegan? Should I or shouldn't I drink coffee? Should I or shouldn't I learn Spanish? Should I or shouldn't I date men or women, or be celibate, or should I or shouldn't I go to church? It's an issue like that, yeah, which we can turn into a big issue, but we can also see it as a really small issue. And this card is kind of saying, like, the way that you can best support yourself right now is actually to remove yourself from that situation and those arguments. And there are many debates and arguments going on at the moment, and it can be really easy to lose your entire day, your entire week, your entire month to these arguments and these conversations, because they go on and on and on, and like your Facebook feed and your Instagram feed and your LinkedIn feed and your wherever else you look at social media wise is just full of this stuff. And someone puts up a post and then there are hundreds of comments, and the comments go on and on and on and backwards and forwards, and people get irate and they start arguing and they say such horrible things to each other, and it's shocking and it's ridiculous, because people are treating other people badly because they're not seeing them as a person, because they're just a piece of text, and so they're acting like they don't have feelings and they're not going to get hurt, and there's no etiquette really anymore. So instead of getting lost in the muddle of all of that, and instead of getting lost trying to catch up and keep up with the news, and have conversations with the people we know about what's going on and what we believe and what we think and what we're worried about and all those things, this card is saying, bring your focus more to here. Yeah, so put yourself, instead of putting everybody else on the stage, put yourself on the stage. Sit yourself on the throne, yeah, in a sacred space. And this card has got two solid columns, one on either side of this person, yeah. So it's like they are grounded, they are supported, they are held within a safe space. Find a space like that for yourself in the place that you live. And then figure out what it is that you believe in, not about the moment, but in terms of like your life. Who do you want to be? How do you want to be? What do you want to make happen? What would you like to grow? How would you like to get there? What would you like to do once you get there? Where would you like to end up? Like, these are the questions to be asking yourself, to be working out and to be working towards, rather than getting distracted by all of the stuff that's going on at the moment, which, in 5 years' time, we could look back and see that as maybe that was all just a waste of time. Maybe it was all just a big distraction. Maybe we missed the point. Yeah, because, the point is that there's more going on than meets the eye. And the only way that we can really be useful or relevant is to try and align ourselves with what that bigger picture is, and people that are trying to support a better, bigger picture. And that's a big issue, and that's not an easy thing to work out. And I think, in the meantime, unless we are like thought leaders and unless we're influential people, then the best work that we can do is to just try and lead a good life and try and be a good person and try and be loving and kind to other people, regardless of what they're doing and regardless of what they believe in. And just accept that, that's their prerogative, that's their choice, yeah? It's my choice if I want to be a vegan or a carnivore. It's your choice whether you want to be a vegan or a carnivore, and it's none of my business to comment on that. And if we can kind of like try and think a little bit more like that, then we can clear all of this like foggy haze in front of us, and we can come back to our personal space and sit down in this quiet, sanctified space and be grounded and just ask ourselves, who do we want to be and how do we want to be? Where do we want to be and how are we going to get there? And that is what this card is calling upon us to do, is to just get rid of all of the distractions and really get real with ourselves, even if it's uncomfortable, and to try and be a bigger and better person so that we can grow a healthy tree. The second card that came up is the Three of Swords. And the Three of Swords is the cause of our heartache and our sorrow and our discomfort and our difficulty. Like three as a crowd. When there's three swords, that's definitely far too many. Like, these swords are piercing your heart. Yeah, there's three swords and they're piercing your heart. So it's like you're being wounded by three separate things. You're being pulled and torn in three separate directions. And it's like these swords, this knowledge, yeah, because swords are language and knowledge and intellect and wisdom. It's like the spoken truth. These swords, these words are not hurting you, they are harming you. Where are these swords coming from? Are these swords other relationships in your life? Are these swords the media and the information that you're receiving there? You know, are these swords the words that you are speaking to yourself? What are these swords? These are the things that are hindering you at the moment. They are hurting you and blocking you and stopping you. And this card just wants us to open our eyes up to this and to look at it and go, oh, I am actually sabotaging myself right now because I am not seeing this, I am not realizing this, and I am not protecting myself from these things. I am not working at having strong boundaries around my heart, or maybe I am, but they're not strong enough, and maybe I keep letting my boundaries down. And this card is just showing you what is happening when your boundaries aren't strong, when your boundaries aren't there up protecting you. And so it's just, you know, just to realize that actually stepping into a quiet, safe space is a really good, healthy thing to do, and that's going to help you to get more direction and more movement and flow back in your life again. And then if we can look at this and realize that this is where our pain is coming from, yeah, whatever these three things are to you, that is why you are feeling sad in your heart. That is where the grief is coming from, the fear, the anxiety, the anger, the panic, the overwhelm, the everything you're feeling. That's where it's coming from, these three swords. And these swords, some of these swords could be really, really old. You know, one of these swords you might have carried with you all your life in your heart. And this card is just saying, look, take a really good look at these things, write down what they are, and then work out how you can lovingly heal these wounds, how you can lovingly extract these swords and lay them down and put them to rest. You know, bury them so that they no longer harm you, and move forwards. So just to close this reading, I am now going to pull an oracle card for us, and it is from the Universal Love deck, which is another gigantic deck in terms of card size, but it's got some very pretty images, and I thought a nice love message would be a really nice thing to end with, given the topic of our reading. So shuffle the cards. Okay, and the card that came out. Okay, so the card that I pulled was Emergence. So this is a message of love for your heart, and this card basically shows us this woman, this powerful, beautiful, sexy woman who is emerging. She's emerging from this yellow coloured space. It's like yellow, and there's a little bit of bluey green. There's quite a lot of pink and a little bit of purple. So this is like kind of the colour, the chakra energies of this card is like the main kind of card is like this intuition and everything. I mean, she is emerging, she is being born, this new woman is coming to life, is coming out into the open, and this is what we are creating right now. This is what we are birthing, is this new energy, this new woman. And so if you're a woman, this is a new version of you that is being born right now. Maybe this woman is being born because you have adopted a healthier lifestyle recently. Maybe this woman is being born because you've been working out loads at home. Maybe this woman is being born because you are just looking after yourself better, loving yourself more. Maybe this woman is being born as you are researching and trying to take your career in a new direction, or you're learning and studying in a new direction. How is this woman being born for you in your life? And if you are a man, then this woman is like you are connecting with the divine feminine within you. balancing your energy and letting this this softer, slower, more sensual, more pensive side of you rise to the surface. And this can only make you a better person. This can only bring you more friends and more deep connection, more community, and it can only add to your business, to your job, to your passions. So that can only be a good thing. And I'm now going to use the book that comes with this deck to just see what the booklet says. Okay, so the booklet says, it may feel like you're being thrust into unfamiliar territory by forces beyond your control. That kind of makes sense given the current situation that we're in. And yet, it is through the events currently unfolding that your true nature emerges. You tap into new reserves of power, confidence, and wisdom. What starts off as daunting and challenging changes, and after a while, all falls into place easily. The end result is a stronger, more confident, and grateful you. So I think that's a really beautiful card, actually, to end this reading on and to complement this reading. I think this card works beautifully with the whole theme of the reading and what we've been talking about. And so I hope that's really helpful to you to kind of know that this is happening, like what we've been talking about, and what the previous cards have said has then just been verified by this, confirmed by this, which just it gives us that extra validation that what we are trying to draw in, that what we are talking about, is being affirmed by the universe, by the cards that are coming up for us. So I think that's amazing and really positive. Okay, so that concludes our reading. If you would like to keep pace with me and follow these videos, watch the new ones that I make, then please do subscribe to this channel. If you're like me, you can subscribe and turn off notifications, because I like to subscribe to the channels that I like, but I don't like to receive hundreds of notifications. It just drives me mad. I like to keep up in my own time and to pick and choose from the videos on offer in the order that I want, not necessarily just trying to keep up every day. So you can subscribe and turn off notifications, and then you're not going to get overwhelmed or stressed by being able to check back and keep pace with things. If you like this video, please do like it with a thumbs up. And if you would like to know more about me, or you would like to inquire into having a personal reading, then please do visit my website, lemonrosepetals.com, and you can kind of find all the other information that you might be after there. And also you can, I have a blog where I write, passages to go with the videos sometimes. So sometimes you can get a deeper dive into the subject matter and the reading by reading the blog that accompanies the video, and the video is embedded in the blog so that you can read the article and then watch the video from there as well, if that would be an easier place for you to keep pace, or if that's how you prefer to receive information. And I will see you back here next time. Thank you. Bye.